What's up everyone, it's Jolly here and welcome back to my channel, the #1 spot for Tesla enthusiasts, entrepreneurs, and investors. Without further ado, let's get right into it, but before we do that, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment down below what other videos you want me to make, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you will be one of the first people to know when I drop my next video. So when it comes to buying a Tesla, specifically a Tesla, you have a few options available. One is to buy it outright, another is to lease a vehicle. Now in today's video, I'm gonna break down the numbers and run through the exact tools that I use myself to figure out if I should buy or lease a 2021 Tesla Model Y, Tesla Model 3, you name it. I will also be going over the pros and cons of both. This is meant to be an unbiased opinion as I have both leased and purchased cars in the past, but I hope it provides transparency and clarity for you viewers that are on the fence of either option to help you make the best and right informed decision. A couple tools that I used, I'm going to be sharing them on the screen over here.
An hour later.
When it comes to buying a Tesla, as you can see on the screen here, there are a few options. I mean, the #1 spot you should be going to is to Reddit actually and to Google and to figure out whether you should be buying or leasing a car and kind of read through the forums. That's kind of what I did initially when I was trying to figure out what the best option is for myself. Even look up, buying or leasing Tesla, Reddit. I just like Reddit because it is a more active forum, I would say, and people on there are really responsive and on top of their shit. So pros and cons of leasing Tesla, boom. So one of these articles, I'll definitely link them down below, but essentially I go through these forums and I kind of go over and read each description here and why people decide to do what they do. Also, Google, there's this site on ratehub.ca that kind of breaks down buying versus leasing. So there are a lot of articles on this topic as well, and I would recommend that you take a read through it. For example, if you wanted to buy a Tesla Model Y, for example, if you scroll down here, it breaks it down. Let's just go to order now. And if you go to order now, you will actually see here. Okay, so purchase price, boom. So you have a few financing options here, as you can see. So another great tool that I like to check out is Tesla's website, where you can specifically spec out the car to the exact model, color, exact trim, rims, what color seating you like, and you can kind of vision the car to the way you want it to be. But more importantly, there is this financing option. So if you go here, you can spec it out by long range performance, what paint color you want, what kind of wheels you want to go with, different upgrades, interior as well. But what I like the most about the Tesla's website is your ability to kind of go over your financing options. So as you can see here, if you buy it out cash outright, your purchase price is going to be around $86,000 Canadian. If you do decide to lease it, you can play around with the down payment. So if you want to put a little bit more down, let's say, and then your annual kilometers, it will kind of give you an idea of what you're expecting to put down initially before you pick up your brand new Tesla. And also, depending on how many kilometers you're going to be putting on this vehicle, your lease payments, monthly lease payments will vary as well. So if you have 16,000 kilometers, you're looking at about $850. If you put a little bit more on, which I do put way too many kilometers on my car, it's about $916 a month. So there are other lease or buy tools on the internet. I just found the Tesla one to be more intuitive and easy to use, so this was the one that I went through. So after you go through some forums, after you read some vehicles, and you break down the exact costs on the Tesla's website, you have a good idea of what numbers you're looking at, right? So that's a great place to start. So once we've seen the numbers, let's break down the pros and cons of leasing versus buying, okay? So let's start with leasing here. First thing is, you get to obviously drive the most new and latest, greatest edition of the car without needing to worry about any of the maintenance. So this is an awesome feature. I mean, your car will be covered under the warranty, so most likely for your entire lease, you don't need to worry about anything under the maintenance umbrella. One thing that Tesla does not offer that most leases do is actually a buyout option. So Tesla doesn't allow you to purchase a car at the end of the lease. They actually expect you to return your vehicle at the end of the lease and send it back. But you do have the option to loan the car until you pay off the full price. Go to their website, spec out the car to the way you want it to, and really play around with the finance options, the down payment, the terms. There are amazing platforms available to us, such as Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, or AutoTrader, that is phenomenal in helping you resell your car. But it would be one less hassle for you to worry about compared to if you were buying the car outright. One of the major benefits of leasing a car is actually maximizing the tax deductions. So if you use a car for business purposes, when you lease a car, you get to deduct the business portion of your expense of owning and operating the vehicle. This can include your lease payments, charging repairs and maintenance, insurance, registration fees. If you outright purchase a car, you will not be able to deduct these expenses. On the bright side of things, you don't have a car, which is a great thing in some regards. Then you don't need to worry about selling the car because you don't own it technically. Plus, when I leased my car in the past, I had no intention of buying out the car because I wanted to drive the latest, the greatest, the newest model of the car or different cars every few years. I have also seen people opting for a lease because they are unsure of what the market will look like in the next 3 years, and I completely agree with this. I mean, we have companies like Rivian and Lucid Motors who are about to release their newest, greatest vehicles in the up and coming years, and we don't know what the market really holds for us. But that doesn't mean that Teslas will be irrelevant in 3 years either. I think they are here to stay because they have the first mover's advantage, kind of like Apple when they introduced the iPhone, you know, phenomenal, and they still are relevant and the most dominant smartphone producer to this day. Teslas at this point have really held their depreciation rate very low and much better than the average vehicle. Yes, I mean the technology is evolving so quickly for batteries, but at the same time, if the battery range exceeds the Teslas, then it's going to be priced at a premium price, and majority of the population are still unable to afford it, which is why, again, Teslas, Model 3 and Model Y are still their two best-selling Tesla models because of their affordability. This is AutoTrader, so it's one of the more prominent car resale sites. And if you scroll down here, I mean, you have a Tesla Model 3 standard range selling at $47,000. And I mean, these go for brand new, you're looking at $52,000. So, you know, 2020, so in about, it only depreciated less than 50K in 1 year, which is, I think it's phenomenal for a car, to be honest. You guys get the gist of it. So essentially there are still a lot of great resale Teslas available on the market. So as you can see, there's a lot of demand for this car. I would like to go over some of the other EV incentives that comes with buying a car. As you can see here, if you're buying a car in BC, and I encourage all of you viewers to Google this wherever you are. So, you know, Vancouver EV rebates or whatever country you're in. So Canada EV rebates. It goes more in depth of exactly what the province offers. So you get $3,000 for a purchase or lease of a new vehicle, $1,500, $3,000 for a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle. So, you know, it goes over what it costs to qualify, and also there are some charger rebates. I think they are currently canceled or they've used up all their funding, so that's not available right now. But you get the gist of it. So not only does it keep its value really well, there are also a lot of incentives because governments are really pushing for a cleaner way for us to get from point A to point B, just to help with the environment and make it a greener place for all of us to live in and enjoy. In my opinion, I still think there's going to be a place for used Teslas because it does enter a lower price point, and at a lower price point, there are more people available to afford this type of Tesla. So I don't think that Teslas are going to be irrelevant, and I don't think it's going to necessarily be something we have to worry about at this time because, you know, like I went over, some Teslas selling in 2018, 2019, 2020 are going for around $40,000, $45,000, $47,000. So compared to a brand new Tesla, which is going for about $53,000, I mean, it really kept its value really well compared to most gas-powered vehicles. With the EV market here to stay, and Tesla being not only the leader, but they have the first mover's advantage of EV car manufacturers, the demand for Teslas are not going to go down in the future, and I think it's only continued to rise. So moving on to some final key points about a lease. The first thing is, if you need to break the lease for any reason, there will be extra charges. This is kind of like breaking the lease for your house or condo or apartment. You usually have to pay the excess fee. Landlord gets to keep your damage deposit, and they might also charge you 2 to 3 months rent. Second thing is, you can't do any modifications to the car, and if you do, they have to be reversed upon returning the vehicle. So if you want to tint the windows or you want to change or put a wrap on it, these are things that you aren't necessarily going to do to your car, but when you invest money to do something like that and you can't even keep it at the end of the day, then most likely you're not going to want to make those modifications. So it's just something to keep in mind. And the final thing here is the most important thing as well is the mileage. Now, they do give you an option to lease the car at different mileage amounts for the total amount of 3 years. So starting at, I think, 16,000 kilometers all the way to 30,000 kilometers. Personally, for me, I do drive over 30,000 kilometers a year, because I am a real estate agent and I have to run around and drive a lot. But for majority of people, I think you will be okay under 16,000 kilometers. And it's really hard to kind of gauge how many kilometers you're going to put on a vehicle without driving it, right? Things come up, jobs change, careers change, family moves. Keep in mind that if you do get into a lease and you go over the mileage, there are fees associated with every mile that you go over as well, depending on the mileage allotment. So keep that in mind when you think about leasing a vehicle. Like, how much do you drive, and do you want to modify your car, and what modifications are thinking about putting in the car? Because if you do that, then you're going to have to reverse those modifications and return the vehicle the way you received it. Another thing to really consider is, can you hold on to this car for 3 years? I mean, are you in the right financial position to be able to afford it for the next 3 years, to be able to continuously put out $800, $900 a month for the next 3 years? And these are all the questions around whether you should lease a car or not, whether it's right for you or not. And if you've gone over all of these things and you think it's the right thing for you to do, then by all means go ahead. And if not, maybe it's time to think about buying the car. Now let's talk about buying. I bought my 2021 brand new Tesla Model Y in March of 2021 a few months ago. And when I ran the numbers, it actually was cheaper to buy the car than lease the car. Let me explain. So it seems really surprising, but I will also note that there's one variable which I didn't factor in and account for, which is the depreciation rate. And I did calculate it at around 10%, which is what the depreciation rate for a Tesla Model 3 was, as we saw a few vehicles were on sale on AutoTrader. And that's just the depreciation rate right now, but we don't really know what the depreciation rate will be 3 years down the road. So this is just my best assumption. But if you do own a vehicle, you can do any modifications that you want to it. You can also drive it as much as you want, and there's no cap on the mileage. So you don't have to worry about going over the mileage and having charged extra mileage fees per mileage that you go over in the contract that you sign. So also, you don't have to worry about getting out of a lease or terminating a contract at any given point in time. If you do want to sell off your Tesla, you're more than welcome to list it on AutoTrader, Craigslist, Kijiji, Facebook Marketplace, you name it, or even take it to the dealership and swap it out for another vehicle if Teslas aren't for you. So there's no one holding anything against you, and it's pretty much, your car, and you can do whatever you like to it, whatever you wish to it, whenever you want. So that's what I love about buying out a vehicle outright versus leasing, because there's just less restrictions on the mileage that you can put on a car. There's less restrictions on the modifications that you want to add to your car. And you also don't have to be worried about being tied down with this car for X amount of months or X amount of years that you sign off initially. Because trust me, a lot can change in the time that you signed your lease for a Tesla and drove it off the Tesla's pickup center to the time that you return the car. And that's one variable that you can't really count for. So keep that in mind. When you're talking about actually purchasing this car, buying it is almost about the same price upfront as it does cost to lease it as well. And you would think that leasing would have a lower barrier to entry because you're putting down a small down payment and you're essentially paying it off monthly at $800, $900 a month, which seems more affordable than fronting the $52,000 upfront to buy this Tesla outright cash. Really about the same. On new vehicles, they do vary state by state, province by province, but overall they are going to be pretty similar. Do you want me to break down my exact costs of my purchase for my brand new 2021 Tesla Model Y? Be sure to give this video a thumbs up for the algorithm and drop it down in the comment section below. And I just might make a video breaking down my exact costs of owning and buying my brand new 2021 Tesla Model Y outright. Another thing to consider when deciding to lease or buy is borrowing power. This is the biggest reason why I decided to purchase my 2021 Tesla Model Y, besides the fact that the car keeps its value very well, and I'm hoping to purchase another investment property in the coming months. So a car lease will greatly affect my borrowing power and ability to qualify for a bigger mortgage or a better interest rate, because the banks will look at your car loan or lease and say, hey, you have an obligation to pay about $800, $900 a month out of pocket. So that $800, $900 for my Tesla is only worth around $50,000, but that same $800, $900 when it comes to my purchasing power to buy a home is now, $100,000, for example. So that kind of gives you an idea of the borrowing power and how it affects your ability to borrow more money for a bigger purchase in the next few years, such as a home. And if you're someone that's looking to get into your first investment property or looking to upsize, downsize, or even just buy your first home to live in because you're renting right now, I would really, really strongly recommend that you reconsider leasing and buying and think twice about this, because when you do lease a car and you plan on buying a home in the next 1 to 3 years, it's definitely going to affect your purchasing power. FYI, cars are not an investment. So at the end of the day, you can only really decide which option fits your needs best the most. And I hope this number breakdown help you understand the math behind leasing first versus buying first for your brand new 2021 Tesla. Now, this video is specific to Tesla, so if you're looking at another make, another model of a car, you'll definitely want to do more research on the lease terms, and then also use the calculator that I will link down below in the description to figure out the cost of leasing the car and associated fees along with it as well. I hope this video provided you viewers with an unbiased point of view on both purchasing and leasing a Tesla. It might seem like a simple decision in the moment, but it will definitely have a huge impact in the near future. So really think twice before you pull the trigger on buying the car. Now, if you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up and also comment down below what video you want to see me make next. Do you want me to break down the exact financial cost of my brand new 2021 Tesla Model Y purchase, or did you want me to do some modifications to the car as well? Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ding that notification bell. Turn it on because I will be dropping a video every Wednesday and you want to make sure you're the first one to hop on that video. As always, thank you for sticking to the end and watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.
Talk to me